Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Dasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Hello, and welcome once again to the Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple's YouTube channel. This is the service for Sunday, January 23rd, 2022. We're so glad that you're here to join us once again to hear the Buddha Dharma. Service order for this Sunday service will be Junirai. You can find Junirai on page 79 in the Blue Denver Service Book. We'll then have a reading of the Jodo Shinshu Creed. You can find a copy of the Jodo Shinshu Creed in the description below this video. Finally, we're going to have a Dharma talk, this time looking at the works of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and social engagement within Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. I hope you stick around and enjoy the talk. If you don't have a copy of the Blue Denver Service Book, well, don't worry, because if you look in the description below, you'll find a hyperlink to a PDF copy within a Google Drive. Feel free to download that and use it anytime you'd like. If you ever have any questions about this service or any others, please feel free to leave it in the comments section below or send a DM directly through YouTube. And we hope that you have a beautiful, wonderful day and week and everything else, and that the sun keeps shining for you. We're also going to have a couple vaccine clinics come up here at Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple soon, so keep an eye out on social media in order to come and get boosted. If you haven't been boosted yet, we're going to be going all the way down to age 12. So I hope that you're safe, happy, and healthy. And remember, you're always in the light of Amida Buddha. So put your hands together and say, Namo Amida Butsu. Keshu tenin shokugyo Amida senro zokuson Zaihe mime wanrakok Muyo bushi shue neu Konjiki shinjo nyosen no Shama tagyo nyozobu Ryomoku jonyaku shorenge Koga chodai mirason Menzen henjo nyomangat Iko yunyo senichigan Shonyo tenku kushira Koga chodai mirason Kanon chodai kanchuju Shuju meuso hoshogon Nobuku gedo makeuman Koga chodai mirason Mumi muko koshojo Shutoku keuken yokoku Shosari yaku toku jizai Koga chodai mirason Jipo myomon boshashu Muyo shoma josandan Isho shujo ganriki jui
こが頂戴皆尊根体保険知性系全願症状名大座おひざ上如線の根が頂戴皆尊自法将来証明し権限人図思安楽戦後草原上休業根が頂戴皆尊小不無常無我と薬如数願伝よろ一種説法無明寺子が頂戴皆尊非尊無節無悪名薬無如になく道不主任自身拒非尊子が頂戴皆尊非尊無用法免許無少種悪知識往生不退死亡ない子が頂戴皆尊我戦微尊苦毒寺修善無変如海水小薬前言小上者摂取上小一個ナマナムナマナムナマナムナマナムナマナムナマナムがにしくどく病のせさい道本もないしおじょあらこ
合唱。ナモアミダ仏。 Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Please join in Gassho for a reading of the Jodo Shinshu Creed. I put my trust in the vow of Amida Buddha. Reciting Namo Amida Butsu, let us live life to the utmost with strength and joy. I look to the light of Amida Buddha, constantly reflecting upon myself. Let us strive to live a life of gratitude. I shall follow the teachings of Amida Buddha. Awakening to the right path, let us share the true Dharma with others. I rejoice in the compassion of Amida Buddha. Mutually respecting and aiding each other, let us endeavor to work for the good of all. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Hi, and welcome once again to the Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple for this Dharma talk. I'm so glad that you're all here, join once again to share in the Buddha Dharma. Before we start, and before I read the quote for this one, I want to talk about why this talk is going to be the way it is and what inspired me. I am often so inspired and amazed by the work and the engagement of members of the Tri-State and Denver Buddhist Temple Sanghas. And I saw a post by one of our Sangha members here at the Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temples on their Facebook about being out and marching in the Martin Luther King Jr. Day Parade. And this person's constantly engaging and honestly is an inspiration to me in how they engage with community and their desire to help other people. And so it's through that inspiration from them that this Dharma talk comes from today. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that's part of these Sanghas and are out there and helping people and doing the best that they can and helping other people live the best lives they can and living a life that is truly Namo Amida Butsu, that is truly within the vow. It's inspiring to me and I'm sure inspiring to others. And so in that, as you go out and be in the world, remember, you can inspire anyone through your actions and by letting the light of Amida shine through you. So the quote for today comes from the Tanisho, the Notes on Lamenting Differences. And this is from chapter 13 of the Tanisho. So this isn't directly attributed to Shinran Shonin, but probably was written by Yuenbo. And I'm only reading a small section of it. So this is not the entire 13th chapter of the Tanisho, which is quite long, but rather just one paragraph of it. So please listen to the teachings. Once there was a person who had fallen into a wrong view. He stated since the purpose of the vow was to save those who had committed evils, one should do evil on purpose to make it the cause for birth. So saying, he committed evils in various ways. When the master heard about this, he said in his letter, just because there is a remedy, one should not take poison. With this, he meant to dissuade the man from such wrong view. He did not mean at all that evil is an obstacle for birth. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. So what Yuenbo is writing about here, and what Shinran wrote a letter about, it was a concept that was happening during the time of Shinran called licensed evil. And some Nimbutsu followers said, well, if I'm completely saved, even though I'm an evil, foolish being, I don't have to do good works to be saved. I don't have to be the perfect person to be saved. Shouldn't I be more the person to be saved by doing evil works? So if I do bad things against society, I'm so much more the target of the vow. So this is basically licensed evil. This is the chance for me to do bad things, and I am completely saved by the vow. And while it is 100% true in the last line of this paragraph, this did not mean at all that evil is an obstacle for birth. It does not also mean just because there is a solution to a problem doesn't mean you should create the problem. Just because there's an antidote to poison doesn't mean you should drink the poison. And this week marked Martin Luther King Jr. week. And Dr. Martin Luther King, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Southern Baptist preacher, civil rights activist, hopefully going to be on the $5 bill here soon, is someone that I'm sure we all know tons about. So I'm not going to sit and give a giant biography on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We've all learned about him in school, and I'm sure some of you watching this were alive during his works, his attempt to make the world a better place. And it's often within Jodo Shinshu that we don't view ourselves as social activists. And there's a lot of causes and conditions behind this, cultural reasons for people, Americans of Japanese ancestry, people who dealt with the internments, reasons why you don't necessarily want to stick out. There's reasons even within Japan during the Tokugawa period, and the Edo period, and even post-Edo in anti-Buddhist violence, and the fact that there wasn't really the mobility. And yet at the same time, Jodo Shinshu and the Nembutsu teaching is the teaching of egalitarianness. It is the teaching of unity. It is the teaching that all people are embraced by the vow never to be forgotten. All people are the target of Namo Amida Butsu. All people in their greed, anger, and ignorance are those who are meant to be embraced by the vow. And so when we talk about Jodo Shinshu, we don't often think of us. I'm hard-pressed to think of a Jodo Shinshu priest being like Dr. King. And yet, there's no reason we can't be. And today is a different era than Dr. King. He dealt with segregation. He dealt with hatred. He dealt with racism. He dealt with being assassinated for trying to improve people's lives. And there's several quotes that I am moved by him, and I'm going to tell you the first one. I've got 3 here, but the first one. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And for us, for Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, finding love is not hard. Finding love is not hard. We affirm the love and the compassion that is meant directly for us every time we say Namo Amida Butsu. This is us being aware and compassionate and embraced by that love, Namo Amida Butsu. This is us acknowledging the love that is the Nembutsu, the compassion and the understanding, the forgiveness for being our own Bonbu selves, that is Namo Amida Butsu. Knowing that we are never alone, Namo Amida Butsu. The light is always with us. And so for us, when we hear Dr. King's quote, we can hear it this way. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only the light can do that. We all have the light in our lives. We all have the Nembutsu. Now, I don't think Dr. King meant this in his talk. I don't think he was even probably aware of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. Maybe he was, and if anyone you were alive during that period of time and know that he was, please leave in the comments and let me know. But it's the concept of compassion and of love. That is what Amida hands to us. And so when we say compassion, when we talk about the Buddha's compassion, we say compassion with a capital C. This is big C compassion. This is compassion that is beyond our capability. This is compassion on a grand scale, on a macro scale. This is the work of the Buddhas. This isn't the work of Caitlin or the work of anyone else. This is the work of the Buddha. However, just because the Buddha has big compassion does not mean that we cannot try to attempt to have little compassion, as long as we know that this is not building us merit, but rather is making the world a better place. I read the Jodo Shinshu Creed today because I often hear that as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, we shouldn't even try because we are not capable of true compassion. Jodo Shinshu Creed, an official part of the Jodo Shinshu Honganji-ha liturgy, ends like this. I rejoice in the big C, capitalized C, compassion of Amida Buddha, mutually respecting each other. Let us endeavor, let us, all of us, endeavor to work for the good of all. And so I have this thought. What is the poison that we are taking? What is the remedy? For us, the remedy is always Namo Amida Butsu. But what is the poison that maybe we are taking? What is our version of licensed evil today in 2022? And my statement to that is apathy. Our poison today is apathy. It is our complete and utter burnout and the sadness of the world and the worries of the world, the weight of the world that is on our shoulders. That is our poison. And it is easy to drink that poison and to shut ourselves in from the suffering and sorrow of all those who are in the ocean of birth and death. It is easy to drink that poison. And this is not new today in 2022. It was true in 1966 when Dr. King wrote these words. There are some things in our nation and in the world for which I am proud to be maladjusted, and wish all men of goodwill would be maladjusted until good society is realized. I never intend to adjust myself to segregation and discrimination. I never intend to adjust to the rigor to religious bigotry. I never intend to adjust myself to economic conditions that will take necessities from the many to give luxuries to the few, leaving millions of people smothering in the airtight cage of poverty in the midst of an affluent society. Dr. King wanted to be maladjusted in the pain of others. Dr. King wanted us to see with eyes that are truly open to the pain, to the causes and conditions, to the greed, anger, and ignorance, not only of ourselves, but that of our society. We can do that as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists. We have permission to do that. Just because we say Namo Amida Butsu, just because we chant the words of the Junirai and say, I prostrate myself in front of you, Amida Buddha. I am so grateful for being embraced. Namo Amida Butsu. We are not limited in our own small c compassion, our own limited compassion, the compassion that comes from our own greed, anger, and ignorance. However, in doing this, we can show and let shine the light of Amida Buddha through us. We can let shine the Nembutsu through us. The second line of the Jodo Shinshu Creed, I shall follow the teaching of Amida Buddha, awakening to the right path. Let us share the true Dharma with others. Let us open the path of Dharma to others by having an open hand to them. Let us acknowledge the pain that other people are feeling in that aren't us. Let us acknowledge that people have issues in their lives, that people need help. Let us not say, what do I need to be comfortable complete myself, but what does someone else need to live? Let us do what we can to help other people. Let us do what we can to embrace everyone as our brothers and sisters, because the Dharma for Amida Buddha, the Nembutsu, was meant for all people. And we can only get it to all people through our limited means if our eyes are open and our hands are extended. Let us not succumb to the poison of apathy just because we have the antidote of the Nembutsu. Just because the antidote is there does not mean that we can ignore the pain of others. The time is always right to do right. The time is always right to do right. Once again, these are the last quote I will share from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a man assassinated, killed for trying to help other people live a life, for trying to show that all people are created equal. And that is a tenet of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. All people, rich or poor, smart or foolish, amazing or average, famous or infamous. All people are embraced equally by Namo Amida Butsu. It doesn't make a difference how we qualify someone, the Buddha sees them the same. We are all children embraced by Namo Amida Butsu. So I look to the light of Amida Buddha and constantly reflecting on myself, let us strive to live a life of gratitude. And let's let that gratitude reflect upon others. This does not mean that we can find birth on our own. This does not mean our compassion builds us any merit, because it doesn't. We are foolish. We are bombu. We are already saved and embraced. We are embraced and will never be forgotten. We are Jodo Shinshu Honganji Ha Buddhists. Let's let the rest of the world know that. And let's see the compassion that comes from us. Let's show the love for no return other than to know that you have improved someone's life in the limited way that is possible. And so I will say to you, I put my trust in the vow of Amida Buddha, reciting Namo Amida Butsu. Let us, let me, let you, let us live a life to the utmost with strength and joy, with the strength to not indulge in the poison of apathy, and with the joy that is sharing the Nembutsu, and that is sharing of ourselves, of true openness, and the small c compassion that we are capable of. So please join me in Gassho and hear the words of Shinran Shonin once again. Once there was a person who had fallen into wrong view. He stated that since the purpose of the vow was to save those who had committed evils, one should do evil on purpose to make it the cause for birth. So saying, he committed evils in various ways. When the master heard about this, he said in his letter, "Just because there is a remedy, one should not take poison." With this, he meant to dissuade man from such a wrong view. He did not mean that all evil is an obstacle for birth. Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu.